throughout the last couple of days and through the day Saturday. It was really northern Ontario seeing the heaviest amounts of rain in around Geraldton, about 50 millimeters of rainfall, but there is still more to come. Southern Ontario anywhere from about 10 to 20 millimeters of rain. An additional 5 millimeters of rain Sunday through Monday in around Toronto, for example, the heaviest amounts of rain in around the Great Lakes as there is lake effect rain. Yes, because you get the lake effect when there's a 13-degree temperature difference. So at this point in time, the lakes are at least 13 degrees warmer than the air, and that gives you an idea of just how much cooler the air is right now. So that's one of the big stories. Coming up, we'll talk about this system making its way into the Maritimes, but it's the contrast in temperatures between the eastern prairies and Alberta that we want to talk about next. It's a huge story. And it's fantastic. So Calgary hit 20 degrees after seeing snowfall just a few days ago. Edmonton nearly 20 degrees as well. And then Regina and Winnipeg did not crack 10 degrees. And that trend is really going to continue over the next few days. We're looking at Calgary still in the upper teens, at least through Monday. You cool for Tuesday, whereas Winnipeg and Regina, you really stay below seasonal. So let's take a look at some of the big weather stories. I mentioned that, of course, temperatures across the prairies, number one, still remaining unsettled across Ontario. The low pressure system continues to spin and spin. There is snow, and a lot of it for parts of northern Manitoba and even far northern Ontario. Another system makes its way onto the coast for north and, well, at least the north and central coast of BC. And of course, rain showers making their way across the Maritimes. We'll have more details on what you need to know coming up. But how about this? Don't go anywhere. There sounds a little daunting, but there you go. A lot of zombie invasions happening across the country this weekend. It reminds you of Halloween. Halloween is less than 4 weeks away at this point in time. Hard to believe. But when you start talking about snow, you know that Halloween is just around the corner. And we certainly are dealing with snow. Northern Manitoba, as we head into Sunday morning, and far northern Ontario, areas like Gillam could be seeing upwards of 30 centimeters. And there are some snowfall warnings in place. So you can see the surge of moisture in northern Manitoba stretching into northern Ontario. That is predominantly snow, but as temperatures warm through the day Sunday, Gillam gets up to about 2 degrees. You could see rain mixed in with that snow. And let's face it, nobody wants to move when you're talking about moving homes when there is snow on the ground, and Margot has that report. It's not fun to move in the snow. It's not fun to move in anything but ideal conditions, to be honest, and it's not fun to move, period. But that includes rain showers as well. If you have any moving to do across southern Ontario, southern Quebec through the day on Sunday, the showers will continue. Although Montreal, it was a really wet day on Saturday. It looks like you'll be dry for the most part on Sunday, just a lot of cloud cover and cooler temperatures. But the heaviest rain is going to be making its way into the Maritimes through the day Sunday. And the bulk of the rain will be in New Brunswick. Up to 30 millimeters of rain could fall. It just lasts Sunday, though, and Monday looks to be a better day. Now, in around Vancouver, so as we take a look at the long-range forecast across the country, a lot of it has to do with temperatures, and that's very typical for this time of year. Fall is a transition season, so the dominant seasons are summer and winter, and we spend fall transitioning from one dominant season to the other. So it's this battle between summer and winter, essentially. And the jet stream generally divides the warmer and cooler air. And so for the next few days, most of the country is seeing below seasonal temperatures, with the exception of southern BC and Atlantic Canada. So as an ode to the warmest spots in the country, we wanted to show you the 7-day forecast in Vancouver. Tuesday's the best chance for rain, but I mean, look at the temperatures the next few days. In the high teens, if not low 20s. Most of the country can't say that over the next few days, although Fredericton can. Again, 19, 17, 19, 17. Temperatures are above seasonal for this time of year right across the Maritimes, and that trend lasts for most of the week. So now that we've talked about temperatures, let's talk about unsettled conditions. And across the east, it is fairly unsettled. Sunday, rain in the Maritimes, and we're looking at that low continuing to spin, making things unsettled across Ontario as well. Essentially, the potential is there for rain showers in Ontario, especially in the south. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, less of a chance, and then Thursday again. So it's a really unsettled long-range forecast. Not huge storms, but the potential for drizzly, gloomy conditions. Before we talk about the temperatures, it is just plain cold. Look at Regina. Regina on Saturday did not hit 5 degrees for a daytime high. You'll double that for Sunday, but you'll still stay below seasonal. Winnipeg as well, you don't hit the double-degree mark or the double-digit temperatures until we hit Wednesday. So make sure to stay warm. Now, just a reminder that season 2 of Angry Planet premieres Sunday night. Here's a sneak peek at what you'll see. You know, what I love about this video is we're so focused on watching the geese cross the road that we don't notice That car totally runs a red light, and I'm not going to replay the video for you because you're just going to run the license plates, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But if you're like me, the first time I watched that video was all about the geese trying to cross the street on a very gloomy day. Wasn't it gloomy across southern Ontario, central Ontario, even across the north where we've also had reports of snow? But essentially, we're going to remain unsettled right across the province really over the next 3, 4, 5 days. It's not a lot of heavy rain all at once at this point in time. It's just unsettled with cloud cover and on again, off again showers, even including some lake effect rain showers, so heavier amounts through cottage country and around the shores of Lake Erie as well. But in around Toronto, for example, we're talking about 5 millimeters of rain over the next couple of days. It won't be much, just again, gloomy is a good way to describe it. And temperatures will remain a couple of degrees below seasonal. Toronto, we should be around 16 degrees at this time of year, and we get back to seasonal by midweek. Take a look at Montreal. It was a rainy day Saturday, Sunday and Monday, maybe some peaks of sunshine. Ottawa's still fairly unsettled and cool as well. And then Halifax, that's the next story because we have rain, all that rain from Ontario making its way into the province. So basically, Nova Scotia, PEI, New Brunswick, a showery day on Sunday. In fact, New Brunswick could see the bulk of the rain. And then for Newfoundland, it's more so going to be through the day Monday and around St. John's, cloud cover, but really the rain will hold off for you over the next couple of days. Heaviest amounts of rain, as I mentioned, in New Brunswick, about 15 to 30 millimeters of rainfall. That's in the hardest hit areas. And I'm not going to feel so bad because how gorgeous was it through the day Saturday? Water, just gorgeous. Now, contrasting that, because parts of Newfoundland and Labrador, Mary's Harbour, reached about 22 degrees on Saturday, all that warmth. And you compare that to Winnipeg, 6 degrees, Regina, 4 degrees. You did not break the 5-degree mark. So really chilly temperatures will continue the next couple of days for the eastern prairies, whereas in Alberta, where it has been cold, well, you hit 20 degrees in Calgary and Edmonton on Saturday, and you're going to stay a few degrees above seasonal through the weekend. So that's the good news I can give you. Now, I mentioned the cooler temperatures in Manitoba. That means in the far north, we're looking at snowfall. There are snowfall warnings in place. Areas like Gillam, for example, population of about 1,300 people, you're looking at the potential for perhaps 10 to 20, locally 30 centimeters of snow. The further south you go, the more likely you are to see the rain showers. Now, speaking of rain, Vancouver, there is rain in the long-range forecast. We'll talk about that coming up. But also coming up in our next segment, you know, fog isn't going to be the biggest thing you need to worry about in Atlantic Canada the next few days. It's just so unsettled. It's almost as if you have rain and then a day of rest and then a day of rain and then a day of rest right through the long-range forecast. For Sunday, it's going to be a day of rain through the Maritimes, and then late Sunday into Monday, showers start to move across Newfoundland, whereas high pressure dominates Monday in the Maritimes. And then late day Tuesday into Wednesday, you get that next round of rain that may even linger into Wednesday. So as I mentioned, it's, you know, a day of rain and a day of rest, and that trend will continue. As far as rainfall on Sunday is concerned, highest amounts of rain, likely 15 to 30 millimeters across New Brunswick, and about 5 to 10 millimeters of rain elsewhere. Temperatures in the Maritimes, though, that's the good news. Temperatures should stay a few degrees above seasonal, whereas in southern Ontario, temperatures are a huge story. From Friday into Saturday, we cooled by at least 10 degrees. Toronto went from 23 degrees on Friday to a high of 14 degrees on Saturday. It's going to be chilly on Sunday as well. So we'll talk about temperatures coming up. But as the temperatures start to fall, our moods really start to change, and Kasia has that story.
For the Weather Network, I'm Kasia Badurka.
So did everyone find themselves trying to sit up really straight when she mentioned that? Thanks to Kasia for that report. On a map like this, let's talk about temperatures across the prairies. The deeper the blue, the colder the air. For Alberta, luckily, you start to see the oranges sneaking in. Your temperatures in Alberta are so much warmer than across the eastern prairies. There's that huge contrast, and you can see that very definitively in these colors here. So let's give you an example. On Saturday, Calgary and Edmonton both got up to about 20 degrees. Regina and Winnipeg were both around 5 degrees for daytime highs, and unfortunately that trend for the eastern prairies will continue Sunday into Monday as well. And then we take you to the coast of British Columbia. A bit of a dry break for the north and central coast, at least for Sunday morning. Through the afternoon, the next system makes its way onto the coast, so more wet and windy conditions. We'll break down what you need to know coming up, but also coming up, Manitoba, the snow coming down. Let's talk about the snow. We'll take Gillam, for example, because there is the potential for 20 to 30 centimeters of snow. Gillam, by the way, on average, sees about 25 centimeters of snowfall every October. So it's not out of the question. Gillam also has a population of 1,300 people. Let's take you somewhere where the population is closer to 6 million population at this point in time. Toronto saw peak wind gusts close to 50 kilometers per hour with this storm and, close to 10 to 15 millimeters of rain. But how is this for perspective? Because we're talking about 6 million people in the greater Toronto area. What about the greater Tokyo area or the greater Tokyo region? This is Typhoon Panpone, and you can see the swirl of this typhoon. Typhoons have a different naming convention than hurricanes, but it's essentially equivalent to a Category 2 hurricane. It's a big storm. It's heading toward the Tokyo area. The greater Tokyo area has a population of 35 million people. That's the equivalent of all of Canada's population. So that is some perspective for you when it comes to weather. And okay, it was a chilly day in KW for any sort of zombie events going on. Temperatures in Waterloo, 22 degrees on Friday. Nearly 12 degrees on Saturday. Same thing around Toronto. Pearson Airport got to 23 degrees on Friday and only 14 degrees on Saturday. Unfortunately for Sunday, if you thought Saturday was cold, it may be a degree or two cooler. Our temperatures don't get warm too quickly over the next few days. Blue on this map represents the cooler air. Yellows during the day indicating that, we're getting up to close to 10 degrees and then we get cold overnight again. So the mornings especially are going to be chilly if you're heading out anywhere early Sunday morning. Into the afternoon, though, 10, 11, 12 degrees isn't the end of the world, but it is colder than where we should be for this time of year. Toronto should be seeing daytime highs around 16 or 17 degrees. And notice this. Lake effect rain showers. If this is the perfect setup. If this were in about a month and a half from now, 2 months, it would be a whole lot of snow. So luckily enough, it's just rain right now because the setup for the lake effect rain is perfect. We've been seeing the rain showers in around Niagara region. For Toronto, we may see 5 to 10 millimeters of rain over the next couple of days. It won't be much, just drizzly, dreary conditions. We'll have more details on that coming up. We'll see an event. It's those showers that just come and they go and they come and they go. And unfortunately, that's really our pattern, not just for Sunday or Monday, but also Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. So not the most pleasant long-range forecast here in southern Ontario. The winds are not going to be as much of an issue as we get into the start of the work week, but it's still going to be windy on Sunday. So on a map like this, reds indicate winds sustained from 40 to 60 kilometers per hour and then gusts even stronger than that. So we are seeing some reds and oranges in southwestern Ontario in particular. Over the lakes, it's going to be extremely windy, but the winds do slowly start to break as we head into Monday, as I mentioned. Now, as far as the rain is concerned, I mentioned those on again, off again showers. Nothing too heavy, although there were some reports late on Saturday night of some heavy rain and lake effect rain in around the Niagara region. So again, it's not affecting everyone, but we have these bands coming off of the Great Lakes and in around the Niagara region. Up to 30 millimeters of rain is not out of the question. Toronto, more so 5, maybe up to 10 millimeters of rain, and that's Sunday into Monday. So again, it's just these hit or miss, on again, off again showers. So take a look at this. We put that trough in there, that red dashed line, just to represent the unsettled conditions, but you can see the bands coming off of the water, a typical lake effect rain pattern. If this were December and the same pattern set up, that would all be snow and it would be a lot of it. So we should be grateful that our temperatures are 10 degrees or a little bit warmer than that. We'll talk about temperatures in a moment, but Halloween is just around the corner. If you're sick of carving your pumpkin, Kim McDonald has some information for you. That is the craziest story. I was not expecting that, but a lot of fun. And just a reminder, Halloween is 3 weeks on Friday. It's not that far away. I guess it was, closer to 4 weeks away, but that's fine. 3 weeks coming up this Friday. Unsettled conditions continue, as I mentioned, right across southern Ontario. It's not going to be an all-day rain event for all of us, but the potential for showers is there for most of the week ahead, and we stay on the cooler side as well. Now, great explanation has been posted on our website, theweathernetwork.com, but essentially hail happens in a more big convective thunderstorm with storm clouds higher in the sky where it falls and it'll melt and freeze and refreeze and melt and refreeze. And so there is a difference between the two. Check it out, our website, theweathernetwork.com. Through the day on Sunday, it's going to be much like what we saw on Saturday, cloudy and those on again, off again showers. And we will talk a little bit more about our cooler temperatures coming up. But first, as we change seasons, our mood changes. Kasia has that story. Thank you very much, Kasia. And it's interesting because on Saturday, it was chilly in Toronto. We hit 14 degrees. It's actually going to be a couple of degrees cooler for Sunday. We're talking about daytime highs around 10, 11, 12 degrees for most of us in southern Ontario. But at least it's not snowing, and that cannot be said for other parts of the country. So coming up in our next segment, we'll talk about our weather here in the GTA, but we'll also talk about snow across Canada. That story is next. Don't go anywhere.